Are you over 40 and feeling a bit flat? After all the hustle and bustle of Christmas and New Year, are you feeling quietly fried? By the time January arrives, it's often not that anything is wrong, it's just that we're tired. We're fried by the festivities. We're fried by expectation. We're fried by the noise of being needed, of being on for weeks on end. And then, almost before we've caught our breath, the media starts shouting, "New year, new you, whoopee." Well, if you're anything like me, I don't want to be new. I don't want to be fixed. I just want to be me. So today, I'm going to share with you 5 little things that I do to realign myself, to refocus, and just to, I don't know, come back home to being just me. We're standing on the threshold of a new year here, but notice that nature is not rushing forwards. The earth is resting, the fields are quiet, the sap is low, life has withdrawn inwards, conserving its energy. Winter invites us to do the same, not to push, not to improve, but to listen, to notice what's true, to remember who exactly we are underneath all of this busyness. For me, this season is less about plans and more about presence. The first thing I do is a little bit rebellious in this culture. I sleep more. I follow the rhythm of the sun. My day is dictated by nature, not by the clock or the diary. Every morning begins with letting the animals out of their shelters, feeding them, checking their water. They don't want to come out into the cold and dark any more than we do. So, for a few short weeks in midwinter, I allow myself the luxury of staying in bed until just before dawn, about 8:30, snuggled up under the duvet, letting my body rest and letting my nervous system soften. Recently, I've come to realise that rest isn't actually laziness, it's maintenance. And above all else, it's actually wisdom, because we need to rest. Winter is the perfect season for slow food. On rainy days, when the world outside feels grey and small, I batch cook. I finally tend to all of the things that I was too busy to process during harvest. All the produce that was hastily bunged in the freezer when there simply weren't enough hours in the day. Yeah, there's something deeply comforting about filling the house with the smell of a good casserole. knowing that the future me will be quietly grateful. I also allow myself another winter luxury, watching films, curled up by the fire, cosy and warm. It feels almost decadent. During the growing season, there just aren't enough hours in the day, even though there's plenty of day. But winter gives us that gift back again. And that brings me to the third point. In general, I don't actually watch television because I find that it squanders away hour after hour. And as for the news, well, why is it always bad? I've often wondered that. Why is it always bad news? In sport, we report on success. We celebrate victories, achievements, moments of glory. And yet, logically, there must always be a loser. There is bad news in sport, if we care to report on it, but generally we don't. So why on the media don't we hear about the brilliant things that do happen every single day? Why don't we hear about the quiet victories, the acts of kindness, the brilliant things that just make us human and that just build humanity? Why do we have to think that everything is bad? Because of this, I choose not to watch the news, read the papers, or spend much time on social media. I realise that that might be an unpopular choice, but I value the freedom of mind that it gives me, the freedom to make my own choices, rather than absorbing the constant prescription of modern media. But I'd actually like to clarify something here, because maybe people think that I'm just a little mushroom that sits in the dark. And quite often people say to me, but how can you just ignore what's going on? Why doesn't it bother you? But that's the thing. It does. It really bothers me. I really feel it deep down. And it makes me sad, anxious, and heavy-hearted. It negatively impacts on the life around me. Yes, there are big issues, but in reality there's very little that I can directly change. But actually, there is something that I can do, and it's right here. I can care for the one small corner of the world for which I am custodian. I can be kind, I can be compassionate, I can be grateful. I can use the skills and strength that I was given to make a difference right here. I can work hard and I can try to make a difference for the people around me. That I can do. That's not disengagement. That's actually responsibility, real and rooted. Winter is the perfect time to take stock, both mentally and practically. I reflect on the year that has passed, the things that worked, the things that didn't, what needs adjusting, what needs fine-tuning. I try to build on successes rather than dwell on failures. When something hasn't gone according to plan, and there are quite a few things, I just don't discard it. I treat it as a lesson. Right just now, there's a lot of these sorts of lessons because I'm right at the beginning of my YouTube journey. But do you know something? I'm actually learning a lot. Practically speaking, I also take stock of my seed store and equipment, because spring has a little habit of sneaking up behind me and suddenly announcing that now is the time. You would think that after 60 years I would be used to this rhythm, but somehow I'm never quite ready. My fifth practice is more of a dream than a reality. It's called decluttering the house. I always start full of enthusiasm, but before long, the piles of junk begin to pile up. And that's when I realise that I'm being a bit harsh, because much of what we call junk is really our memories. And I'm not always ready to let go of those memories. And you know, I've come to realise that actually that's okay. So now I take a gentler approach. I thin out paperwork and I put things back more tidily than they were before. And some things do go to the recycling, but only when I'm ready. I've stopped worrying about what will other people think. I think that's another video actually. Because actually, do you know, it's me that lives here and I quite like my stuff. This winter, my greatest achievement was clearing the kitchen work surfaces. That simple change has created more flow and more ease. And I have to confess, it feels wonderful. So if you started watching this feeling a bit flat, a bit tired and a bit worn out and dissatisfied, I want to offer you this reassurance. Perhaps nothing is wrong. Perhaps you're not failing. Perhaps you don't need fixing. Maybe you're just being invited, like the land, like the animals, like the season itself, to just rest, to listen, and to just come back to yourself. And in this quiet season, I would like to thank you for spending this quiet time with me.